What to do, everybody? Welcome to Young Black and Vegan. This is Cooking with Chef Kyle. I'm Chef Kyle, and today I'm gonna show you how to make a smoky cauliflower bowl. My goal is with this is to show everybody how to make something really inexpensive and tasty. So we got some fresh ingredients mixed in with some canned ingredients. And yeah, we're not gonna overthink it. We're just gonna make something good and easy to replicate over and over. You can even switch it up sometimes if you want to. My goal with this meal is to create something that people can make easily at home. I got half a cauliflower because that's what I literally had in my fridge. I have a recipe for this in my cookbook, Smoky Cauliflower Bowl. It's a little different than this, but this is a variation that, like I'm saying, the goal is just like to be able to make something that you got at your house with the ingredients that you got. So we're not gonna overthink it. We did, like I said, I got a half a cauliflower, I got these sweet peppers, I got some onion and lemon, and that's what I had, and we're gonna make a variation out of those things. So first thing you wanna do, since cauliflower take the longest, will be to cut up your cauliflower, get that going in the oven while you do everything else. One of the main tips with being a professional cook or chef is understanding time management. So the thing that takes the longest to make is the thing that you want to start with. So that will be the roasted cauliflower, and then there'll be the rice, and then we'll do the beans and the sauce after that. So we're just gonna bust our cauliflower down to bite-sized pieces. It's no rhyme or reason to this, however you like to eat your cauliflower. So if you want big old pieces, make it like that. If you want small little bite-sized pieces, make it like that. You're not really supposed to be talking over the food when you cook, but in order to teach y'all, I gotta talk over the food, so don't judge me. So yeah, like I said, I like my cauliflower pieces kind of chunky because they add to a good texture when you are eating the food. A lot of times when you're eating vegan food, you gotta play around with the textures. Can't make everything one mushy product, you know? So the cauliflower, different size pieces, some big, some small, and in my experiences, that just leads to an overall more enjoyable food experience. Bust these down. We're gonna season the cauliflower with smoked paprika, cumin, sea salt, and olive oil. That's it. One of my favorite things to season cauliflower with is a combination of smoked paprika and cumin, always. You can change that up from there if you want it a little more decadent, but it's a good base. Just for, on an average, just making cauliflower, smoky cauliflower. You can add it to salads, you can add it to rice bowls like we're gonna do today. You can eat it on its own. You can do a bunch with it. And then, like I said, it's just cumin, smoked paprika, and sea salt. So from here, first thing we're gonna do is coat it with a little olive oil. Like I said, I got a half cauliflower, and I probably use about a quarter cup of oil. That's just how I like to do it because it gives it a nice char as it's roasting. And I also got the oven on 450. I already got that preheated, I already got that rolling. I like to roast my cauliflower on high heat because it just makes a better texture to have that char on the outside. So we're gonna go with some smoked paprika. Always, it's funny when I'm cooking, like a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. Like, you gotta learn your seasons though. You can't really over season with paprika. So just depending on what you're doing. Cumin, you could be a little more on the light side with the cumin. But still, I'm gonna put about a tablespoon. I say 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika and about a tablespoon of cumin. And then some sea salt. Let's give that a little toss. Another actual good tip that I am gonna show y'all today is using ACV. I talked about it on my first video with Young Black and Vegan. Utilizing acids like vinegar and stuff brings out a different flavor. Salt is an enhancer, vinegar is an enhancer, citrus is an enhancer, and by enhancer I mean like a flavor enhancer. So the less you can use salt and the more you can use different things like lemon and vinegars and stuff, the better that the food is on the health level. It's not so much sodium. So like I said, we still use salt, but you want to bring out as much flavor as you can. And that's a good way to do it. So, and then now the cauliflower look all nice and red. Got some good color. So once that's cooked up, that's gonna be beautiful. So I throw this straight into the roasting pan. I got these little hotel pans because I'm a chef and we just always had these. So You can just use a baking sheet lined with parchment paper though, if that's what you like, or if that's what you have. Most people have that. Like I said, I got my oven on 450. I like to put it on the bottom rack because it burns a little bit more, and I'm going for a little char, like I said. So from there, we're gonna do our white rice. Everybody should know how to make a little white rice. If you don't, we're doing it the easy way. We're gonna make it in a rice cooker. But even if you're gonna make it in a pot, I'll still go over how to do that. So you pour your amount of rice. I don't measure my rice ever. It's just go off a feel for me. Nice jasmine rice. I don't know if it's crinkling too much in the camera, my bad. But I always use nice jasmine rice, get it from Trader Joe's. It's always about $4 or less. I think it's like $3.79, something like that. So I rinse with faucet water and then I cook with spring water or just purified water, period. So we're gonna rinse the rice, cold water rinse. Like I said, all these same instructions apply to cooking it in a pot too. The only difference of cooking it with a pot is you got to turn the heat down on your own. If you can afford it, then I think it's a good investment to go ahead and get your rice cooker. If you eat a lot of rice, I eat a lot of rice. Yeah, we need no white rice, no white rice. I was all brown rice because I came from like Dr. Sebi's school of thought. So everything was alkaline, everything was pure, no starch and this and that. But after a while, I learned it's all about moderation. You can eat some white rice sometime. I just wouldn't suggest eating it all day, every day with every meal. Oh yeah, here we go. So I like to put a little bit of oil on my rice. I worked at an Asian restaurant when I was coming up and they always did it. They put a little oil, a little salt. They put like a tablespoon of oil, tablespoon of salt, mix it around. They said something about it breaks up the starch and keep it from sticking. I think Asians got the most understanding of cooking rice. And so I've just been messing with it ever since then. So you don't have to do this, but like I said, it's a good tip. Put that salt and that oil in there, mix it around. So like I said, this is the same method you could do for cooking in a pot. The only difference is you start your heat on high until it starts to boil. Then you turn it down to low and cover it. Well, you cover it, then turn it down to low. And you just leave it there for about 15, 20 minutes. And then it don't matter how much rice you had, it's pretty much gonna be money every time. All right, fresh bottle of spring water. You could just use I just suggest using any type of clean water. It don't gotta be spring. Spring is the water I drink. I know it's in a plastic bottle, so I'm not gonna put like the super expensive glass bottle water. And like I said, I could eyeball it, but I always use my pinky. When I first learned, I used to use my pinky to measure. So the first line of your pinky usually is about, I think mine is like 1 inch. So that you want to go about 1 inch over the rice. You want to cover the rice by 1 inch with the water. Simple as that. So that's if you're cooking it in a pot too, like I was saying. The rice cooker is gonna do all that for me. So boom, now I got the 2 things done. That's gonna take the longest. Boom. So now we can move on to the beans just because we want those resting. We don't want those super hot once all the food is done. This is one of those cases of good, better, best. Like, of course, a fresh bean soaked overnight, cooked for 8 hours will be the best. But we got organic black bean and that's still good too. I get mine from Trader Joe's. They're never more than like $1.40. I think they change sometimes based off like inflation and different things like that, but they're never more. I think they're actually like $1.09, but I could be wrong. I know it's not more than $1.40. I think even at Whole Foods, they like maybe max is like $1.70. But nice, good. The reason why I get organic beans is like a lot of people judge organic because they think it's a lot of people where I come from. I know a person who thought organic meant no sugar, no flavor, no salt. So organic doesn't mean that. Organic is just about how it's processed with no chemicals, no pesticides, stuff like that. But the main thing about organic beans, when you get beans, they don't have any preservatives, no ferment agents, nothing like that. So if you get a can of beans and just look at the ingredients, if it says something for color retention, something to preserve firmness, don't get those beans. So spring a little bit for more organic produce, more organic food, period. And it's because it's not just about being rich and healthy. Just rich and eating like rich people. It's about not adding a bunch of chemicals into your body. So I try to stay away from anything that is used to preserve. because that's not really meant for us to be eaten like that. It's a chemical that the industries use to, you know, make a better, longer lasting product. So boom, we got that. And with my beans, I always add a little veggie stock. So we're gonna add some of that. I pour the bean water out always. You can use it if you want to, but it's just always pretty thick. Then I add a nice veggie stock. Just a little bit, nothing crazy. And this dish, the beans, we want the beans to just be a nice little neutral flavor. So I know a lot of people like to season every single thing that they cooking. I don't do that every time. It just depends. You gotta look at food as like a orchestra or a symphony. Like everything can't play the same note, same frequency, same time, same everything. So it's like food is the same thing. You don't want to overly season everything because then it's not harmonizing together properly, and then you're gonna have weird food. So think about your full meal. You know what I mean? When you think about salt, what you're gonna add salt to, what you aren't gonna add salt to, all that matters. Like I said, that's more of a professional tip. So it's not something like, I'd like to not overcomplicate what I'm teaching people, because I don't want people to be like, oh, I gotta think about food as an orchestra and all that. I'm just giving analogies for understanding, just so you kind of, because like I said, I know people that season every aspect of the meal. You don't really need to do that though. So we got the beans going. Beans, you could just throw those on low heat. Just leave them here, because like we gonna need to, the cauliflower gonna roast for about 40 minutes. The rice gonna take about 30 minutes. So the beans will be done. We'll just cover those up and leave those there. After a while, let me clean up my station. So from now, we're gonna make the sauce, the fun part. The sauce will consist of the sweet peppers, onions. I pulled the coconut milk out because I may flex it into like a coconut sauce, like a coconut cream sauce, but we'll see. It's all a flow for me, I promise you. I've literally never made this meal like this before. Like I said, it's just a variation of something that I do frequently as a chef. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna cut our peppers up. Everything is pre-rinsed already, don't worry. Like I said, all this produce is organic too, and the only reason it's organic are, you know, you don't have to overthink it, but like citrus and stuff, a lot of times you go get citrus out of a conventional grocery store, you could see the wax on it and you could actually scratch the wax off. You don't want to eat that. Even though it's on the outside, it's still, these things are porous. So all those chemicals that wax is comprised of is seeping down into the fabric of your food too. So just keep that in mind. Like, I know a lot of people judge organic because it's maybe 20 cents, 30 cents more on average than what you buy that's not organic, but it's worth it in the long haul because your health will show for it. Clear skin, clear eyes, clear mind, all that is a part of actually eating healthy, not just buying organic food from a store or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, think about the chemicals that's being added into your food a lot. I actually, listen, random tidbit I'm gonna add. The people I argue with the most online about veganism is vegans. And it's because it's animal rights vegans. And because I went vegan as a health oriented or health focused vegan. And so I see a lot of people trying to discredit like the type of vegan a person is. Like, oh, it don't really count if you went vegan for yourself. And I don't get that, because like I'm saying, it's all contributed to the same cause. And like I'm saying, with these things, like learning how to eat organic, learning about soil, all those things contribute to the same ecosystem. So that is why I kind of get extensive about talking about chemical additives and all of that, because you can eat vegan and you can still eat a very chemically based diet. If you're eating a bunch of processed food and you're not paying attention to if it's organic or how it's processed or all that stuff. So just keep in mind, you can be vegan without being healthy. So it's not just that you're vegan, you're healthy. Paying attention to what's on the back of the package when I'm talking about the ingredients, paying attention to how things are grown, where it was sourced from, how long of a journey it took to get to you, all that stuff, because food is energy. Food should have energy. So if it got picked in Guatemala and shipped to you, that food, it may still be what you thought, what it looks like. It may be a tomato, but it's void of that vital energy that food should be transferring over to you. So just a random little tidbit of information about like why you should be vegan. If you want to be on a health journey, like you have to pay attention to what you are eating when it comes to what the food you're eating is made out of. That's why I use spring water when I cook. Get rid of the fluoride, get rid of the chlorines, get rid of everything that you don't want in your body. So, all right, back to cooking. We're gonna cut up some sweet peppers. No rhyme or reason. If you want to cut these into strips, cut them into strips. I like them in little medallions like this, just cause this presentation, it's just the way I like it to look. I'm gonna char these up with some onion. After this, I get the multicolored sweet peppers. I would suggest people have those in their house often. Just as every time you go to the store and you out, just buy some more, because you can add them into so many things that they, yeah, it's just a versatile pepper to have. No heat in this, nothing. It's just a nice sweet pepper, multicolored, so it gives you that good presentation anytime you need it. Sometimes you can use them fresh. You don't gotta cook it every time. And that's another part about being a health-oriented vegan too. The healthiest way you can eat your food sometimes, I'm not gonna get too far into that, is just fresh. Like to just be able to eat, take one of these out the fridge, rinse it off and just eat it. That's what this stuff is really designed for. Like, it's not really meant to be, everything isn't meant to be cooked like that. So yeah, but you'll get there over time. Like I said, I don't want to complicate this for anybody, but you'll get there over time to where you could just enjoy things as they are. You don't always have to roast them and char them and all that stuff. It's good because most of us are used to comfort food like that. But yeah, at some point you'll be able to just eat these things as is, and you'll be craving like that. I think I've been vegan, I'm losing count because I'm getting older, but I think I've been vegan either 14 or 15 years. And I went through bouts to where I would just eat fresh food for whole weeks just because that's what my body was craving. I wasn't premeditated. I didn't think about it in any shape, form, or capacity. I just did it, and I felt great. And you'll go through bouts like that when you're eating for freshness and health and energy. But this is a good old cooked meal. Rice and beans, it's pretty dense. This is a nice protein-based meal. But like I said, you can switch it up. You don't always have to cook every aspect of the meal. Like I said, you could take this, sans the rice and the beans, and just put it over a bed of salad. Bed of nice romaine lettuce. Still a bomb meal. All right, got those cut up. Put these in here for a little bit. Boom, boom. Another important thing with cooking, this onion is all bad, so we're gonna get a new one. But another important thing with cooking is like everything, like how I got these peppers and now I'm about to do the onion, is not cooking everything at the same time, crowding the pan. Like you'll get into those things. Like I said, I don't wanna make this too complicated for the average person. But try not to overcrowd your pan. So I'm gonna char these first, separate from the onion, and then I'm gonna cook the onion, and then I'm gonna incorporate them all together in a mixing bowl. Maybe bring them back up to temperature, but try to pay attention to like the cadence in which you're cooking things. Because the more you just throw things into a pan together, the less control you'll have over the actual taste and texture. But like I said, I don't want this to be too complicated. So if you gotta throw it all in together and you don't got the time to separate this and that, go ahead and do it like that. I'm gonna go ahead and put my cast iron skillet on high. Cast iron is the skillet I suggest using a lot. Cast iron, stainless steel, or ceramics, just because they don't leach any toxins or weird metals into your food. I've heard that even cast iron gives you some form of iron, which is good for you. So I haven't looked into that because I don't really care about that. I just like it because it's a nice, simple tool. It's not coated with nothing. I think some of them now are coated with something, so be kind of careful with that. But yeah, you can find them not coated with anything, just nice cast iron pan. So like I said, cast iron and stainless steel or ceramics with what you want to cook with if you can. If you got your nonstick, because a lot of people do have nonstick, it's okay. Keep cooking with that until you get to a point to where you can invest in yourself some more. So like I said, we got actually let me go ahead. Nope. I actually like to wait till my skillet is really hot before I put my oil, because then the oil will burn. I cook with olive oil a lot. I've heard people say you shouldn't cook with olive oil, but that's just because olive oil absorbs into the food really fast. So you end up using more of it. But if you know what you're doing, you know when to add it and stuff, it's a beautiful oil to cook with. It has a low smoke point, meaning it burns pretty fast. The only other option really is avocado oil, and that's the most expensive. So even for me, as a person who's fully dedicated to eating healthy, I gotta spare some expenses sometimes too, but not at the detriment of my own health. So I'm not gonna buy a $30 bottle of avocado oil, because I'm not gonna want to saute as much with it, just honestly speaking. So let your skillet get hot, then add your oil, then add your fresh ingredients soon after that. Chopping is really it's up to your own dexterity, really. So you do want to avoid like how this is, like sometimes people may try to cut this while it's rocking like this. You're gonna cut something, you're gonna cut your finger, you're gonna do something. And I cut with really sharp knives, so I'm just used to it. But you never put it to where it's rocking. Put it to where it's flat. Some people say do it with your knuckles, but like I'm saying, that's what I mean by dexterity. Some people that may not be comfortable. Like me, I got longer fingers, so to me, I just end up not having as much control like that. But so you just always want to put your hand in a place to where you're just stabilizing what you're cutting with one hand and just slicing down. The main tip, like I said, is just make sure that it's on a flat surface and it's not rocking back and forth. So always give it some type of flat edge when you're cutting, because that's how everybody's going to cut themselves, and that's a part of cooking too. You're going to burn yourself, you're going to cut yourself. When I'm really in the flow, chefing and being in kitchens all the time, I got burns on my arms, I got blisters on my hands, I've cut this, I've cut that. I probably should have cut my nails, but they're always really clean because I wash my hands a lot. But my nails grow really fast, so I just got used to cutting with them. It's a hygiene thing though for a lot of people. Like you don't want to have, if you do have long nails, just make sure you wash your hands thoroughly. And another myth I want to get rid of is gloves. Now, because people love getting real particular about gloves. Gloves are cool for like quick things that you're doing. Like if you're going from something to another thing, or it just depends on what you're handling, but you could have a glove on, touch a bunch of random stuff and get right back to cooking. So gloves don't mean that the person is being clean all the time, but they can be used in like situations where you can't wash your hands a lot. All right, my skillet should be pretty hot. Yep, it's smoking. Perfect, because I want to char my peppers. And another tip is don't always add salt into your veggies when you're cooking them. It's gonna be a little sizzly for a second. But yeah, about the salt, when you add salt, the sodium pulls out when you add salt, the sodium pulls out the moisture of the vegetables. So I want these to char, I don't want them to stew, I don't want them to steam. So I'm not gonna add salt at all right now. Once I bring it together as a complete sauce, then I'll add the salt and then I'll get it up to par for a sauce. But these right now, just oil, that's it. Like I said, I'm gonna let these cook, I'm gonna let them get a char, and then I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna take them out, let them rest, and I'm gonna go with the onion, because I want those to be a little softer than I want these to be. So they're gonna cook a little longer. But we got the beans done, the rice is almost done, the cauliflower is coming up to speed. So that's why I say, like, you always, if you plan out your meal, this could be a 30-minute meal. Actually, 40-minute meal. If you take out the oven time, it could be a 30-minute meal. Because the oven is kind of simple. You just throw that in there, you forget about it for a little bit. Set a timer. I don't really forget things because I'm used to cooking. But set a timer. If you do throw stuff in the oven, if you are getting used to cooking, because it's those mistakes that make people want to stop cooking. Like, oh my gosh, I burnt this, or I did this, or I did that. But you got to make those mistakes, but help yourself a little bit by just using some tools sometimes, like a timer. It helps. It sounds goofy, but I'm not like a timer is goofy, but like putting training wheels on yourself while you're cooking sounds goofy sometimes to people. But the less mistakes you make, the more confidence you'll have. And these charring really fast because I already had the skillet on really hot. So when you're charring too, you don't want to stir it around too much because it's the caramelization that you're looking for. Only way to let that happen is if you let the actual item stay in contact with the pan. If you're constantly moving it around, it's a different part of it each time. So I've already got almost a full char on one side of these peppers. Getting some nice kitchen towels helps a lot too, because when you're in the flow, say sometimes I did almost forget, it's much easier to pull a towel off or get a towel off your stove or something and grab something hot instead of having to put on a whole mid or whatever. So as you get better at cooking, you know, your tools, invest in your tools, it makes it a lot easier for you. And these are smoking, so they are almost done. Boom. We're gonna leave that nice and hot because we're gonna do our onions now. We're gonna turn it down just a little bit because we don't want the onions to cook as fast. Don't be afraid of the sizzle either, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's gonna pop on you, sometimes it's not, but just be okay. Wearing long sleeve. The smoke from the char is getting me. With onions, you can add some salt if you're looking for a softer onion. So I will add a little bit of salt to these. But like I'm saying, I'm paying attention to everything I'm salting. So by the time I bring everything together, everything is gonna meld together perfectly instead of like, oh, this was too salty, or the whole dish was salty. Because a lot of especially with organic produce, it has its own like unique flavor to it. Like an organic onion is much sweeter and much more vibrant than a conventionally grown onion because it's still close to where it came from. And then meaning like it got picked, it still has its sweetness, it still has the sugars inside of it, it still has everything that's needed. So you'll notice the difference, especially if you shop at farmers market, you'll notice a huge difference in how things taste. So a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't like onion, I don't like mushroom, I don't like this and that. They've only ever had it from a conventional grocery store or somewhere else at a restaurant or something. So keep that in mind, like when you get things fresher and more local, they taste better, way better. Turn this down a little bit. We're gonna let these, I want these to kind of caramelize a little bit with some char though, so that's why I left it high and then turned it to low. So now they got their char, now we're just gonna kind of let those finish off and get the softness to them. So when we make our sauce, it all goes together smoothly. So I think we are gonna use the coconut. So now the sauce is where you can get creative. I have a Moroccan spice blend that I'm gonna use, and like I'm saying, this is just stuff like you should just have in your fridge. So I'm gonna use this, but you can use anything. I was gonna go with like a olive oil, lemon type sauce, but I wanted it to actually be more of a sauce because I didn't have anything green. I normally do like an avocado sauce. I didn't have that today, but I still want it to be a nice fatty sauce, making a nice whole, complete, dense meal that's actually like satiates you, satisfies you, and feels like you ate something substantial. All right, so yeah, like I said, we're gonna use coconut milk, organic coconut milk. This is organic coconut and water. A lot of times you get coconut milk and it's like with some type of guar gum or something like that. Stuff is disgusting to me. It usually rises to the top, so you could just scoop that off. So get the coconut milk you can get, try to get it without the preservatives though. But like I said, this one is just coconut and water. I get this from Trader Joe's. I know everybody's storage is different, but I live in Southern California, so the stores I generally shop at are Sprouts and Trader Joe's. You got to get in the habit of shopping. Like I know a lot of people like look at a store like Trader Joe's and like, oh, it's expensive. I heard it's expensive because they used to like going to Ralph's or conventional grocery store, cereal being $2, and then you go to Trader Joe's, you may see it's organic and it's $5. Don't let that fool you. Focus on the things that you need to cook, like your staples, and you'll notice how much cheaper everything is. All right, so we're gonna bust this open and we're gonna add it in with our onions and let that all simmer together. I'm only adding the cream because that's all I want to use right now. Drag it along. I'm gonna add my Moroccan spice blend. It's basically just roasted peppers, chili, stuff like that. Some onions, cooked down. Stuff you could do on your own, but it's easier to always have like a little flavor all, like have a pesto, have a little different exotic spice jars. You can find these things at any grocery store really. But anytime you have stuff like this, it makes it easier to make like a deluxe gourmet type meal just out of what you got. So the more you could just have little different exotic spice jars around, a little chili flake, a little chili oil, something like that, the more and more you'll be able to make like randomly fire meals just because that's what you had. Because I think the main thing I love about veganism or just plant-based cooking is that everything is open to interpretation. So like normally you make a traditional meal in a traditional way, you make a bechamel sauce, you make a blah, blah, blah. With plant-based cooking, don't even worry about following the structure of any culture or anything like that. If you have a culture, you can, but in reality, like I'm putting black beans, like it's like a Moroccan in a Mexican style bowl because I got the cumin and the smoked paprika and I got the Moroccan spice. I don't know if they eat black beans though, but I know it makes a great meal and I know I'm satisfied with it, so that's what I do. And I know a lot of people like they overthink it, like, oh, I gotta make a Mexican meal. Just make whatever you need to. Make a complete protein, which normally beans and rice is gonna do that for you. And just go from there. But don't hold yourself up. Don't hold yourself to the standards of like the recipes that you come across. Just use them as points of reference. You don't always have to follow them to the T. So that's in there simmering. You're gonna let that simmer for a little bit. My rice is done. I'm gonna check on the cauliflower in a minute. I can smell when that's done, so I haven't really touched it yet. Yeah, we almost done. The sauce is looking real good. And a lot of times, see, like I was saying, I'm gonna add these into the sauce. I don't think I'm going to now. Just as a chef, I'm always worried about presentation. So I don't want these to look the same as that. So I'm probably just gonna add them in at the top, at the end. And the point I'm making with that is always remain flexible. And that's what I was saying about the recipes and stuff. Just stay flexible. Make a meal that you're gonna like and make it the way you want to. So if you wanna add these in there, you can. You don't have to worry about presentation when you're making it for yourself at home. But since I'm teaching y'all something, I want to at least make sure it look appetizing. We're gonna add a little lemon juice in there too, because like I said, the more you can add the acids and the enhancers, the better. So we're getting close to wrapping up. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff you know you're supposed to do on YouTube to show some love. And we're gonna keep coming at you with more different meals. Feel free to give suggestions in the comments. Feel free to give feedback on if you're mad at my fingernails being long. Give anything, because the more you share, the more I'll be able to grow, and the more we'll be able to grow as a family. And yeah, keep being on this journey together, because it's easier together. Even if you hating, we need y'all too. I think we're almost done. Oh yeah, I added the citrus in there a little bit more. Yeah, I don't need this no more. See, it ain't take too long. Always want to fluff your rice a little bit before you serve it. Allow it to continue to steam through all the way, just in case anything was undercooked. I don't ever make undercooked rice, but you might. So a way you could prevent that is just fluff it, put the lid back on for a few minutes, just while you're doing everything else. So we got our rice, we got our sauce, we got our beans ready. Got our cauliflower here, we got everything. It's time to plate. All right, so here the moment we've been building up to, and we all been waiting for, is the taste test to see how it turned out. Like I said, this is a variation of a meal I've done before, but I've never done it like this. So it's I'll be able to give y'all my real reaction myself. I mean, I know it's gonna be good, but you know, it's still my first time. So I'm gonna put my rice in. Then we're gonna do the cauliflower. Generous amount. Cauliflower is the main attraction in this dish for me, so I like to put a lot. You gotta show the drizzle. Can't not show the drizzle. So this is our cooked onions and coconut cream sauce. Nice generous amount. You know, the sauce is always the highlight, so it's up to you. Then just a little bit without the onion, so that fall down into the rice. Boom. And then the final touch, I preferably would have added something green, but like I said, this was to be authentic and show like what could be made with what you got at home. And boom. Green would have been perfect on there, I ain't gonna lie. but it's okay. Y'all not judging me, I'm not judging y'all, it's all good. But green is just a good finishing test. Like some type of little parsley or something chopped up would have been super beautiful on here, but next time. Make sure you like and subscribe, like I said, so we can afford some parsley for the next one. All right, boom, this is just a nice simple dinner meal. You can make this for your friends, you can make it for yourself, you can make it for your children. Kids love roasted cauliflower like this, in my experiences. Yeah, I think this is kid friendly, this is adult friendly, of course, this is everybody friendly. It's savory, it's filling, it has complete protein, all that stuff people like to worry about. And it's cheap too. This meal, we could probably, just with a half a cauliflower and a $4 bag of rice and a few veggies, this could probably feed about 5 to 6 people. Not with the half a cauliflower, I ain't gonna lie, maybe about 3 to 4, but if you had a whole cauliflower, that'd be 5 to 6 people that could eat off of less than $15. So you can stop listening to the propaganda about vegan, eating healthy and eating vegan is expensive, because it's not. So bon appetit. All right, so the moment of truth, we're gonna try it out. Like I said, I've never made it in this way, so you're gonna get my raw organic reaction. But I know I love cauliflower rice and beans, but. And that's fire. And I know people say that about their food. Let me finish chewing. Man, that's super good. So I know people tend to always say their food is really good, but I'm really just a fan of food. So when food is really good, it's an enjoyable experience. You can see it on my face. So please give this a try if you are able to. Make sure you hit the notification button, so when we do make more videos, that we'll keep growing and you'll keep seeing what we have. If you do make it, interact with us in the comments. Let us know how you liked it. Let us know if you changed up or whatever you did different. Like I said, this is just a template that you can use to make a successful meal for yourself at home. Cheap, healthy, and vibrant. Nice, vibrant meal. You're not gonna get the itis after this. Once again, I'm Chef Kyle. This is Young Black and Vegan. Thank you for tuning in with us. I'm gonna go finish this bowl, share it with the wonderful people that produce this for you, see how they feel about it. I know they're gonna like it too. But like I said, we'll be back again. So let us know how everything was, how the video looked, how everything. Just let us know anything. Interact with us and we'll be back. See you soon.